Ladies and gentlemen, we are live!
Welcome everybody to the Bronx Sports Jedi Sports Network, where you look at MMA program with Austin and Chef Dan. How you doing tonight, Chef Dan?
I'm doing good. I'm not gonna lie. My shirt's kind of blending in with the green screen right now. A lot of folks are seeing this. I'm gonna just go off camera and change it real quick, but I'm doing great. We had a great weekend. A lot of great fights. It was just an entertaining overall weekend, and we see that we have a lot more coming up. I don't know. This event kind of it boosted up those kind of questions that fans get as far as the what ifs and things of that nature, and who do you think is better, even though they'll never meet up, because there's a lot of interesting things that was shown in this main event card right here. So I just want to get right into it. Austin, how are you doing though?
I'm doing good. Doing all right. Today was my dad's birthday. Happy birthday to my dad. It was his birthday today, so happy birthday to him.
Oh, most definitely. Happy birthday to the Bronx Sports Jedi, man. That's the guy that kind of paved the way for all of us to be here on this channel. So happy birthday to the Bronx Sports Jedi. I hope he's doing good. You know, he always has us on the podcast platforms. You can listen to us on Anchor FM, Spotify, Podbean, Reason FM, and Buzzsprout.com. So if you don't want to kill your phone, on YouTube while you're listening, and you want to hear some of that UFC talk, some of that skilled violence talk, you could just go on these podcast platforms right here. Look up BX Sports Jedi Network, and we have the material right there for you to listen to.
Most definitely, and definitely check us out if you want to listen to audio podcasts. And yeah, like you said, this past weekend we had some really good fights and really good card. And I just want to do a quick recap of the Bellator card that happened Friday night, and then we'll get into the Holloway and Yair card. In that Bellator card, the main event, yes, Chris Cyborg defeating Sinead Kavanaugh by KO in the first round, 1 minute 32 seconds, and it was a Cyborg performance. Cyborg got hit a couple of times, but Cyborg clearly has more power. We all know when she wins, she usually wins violently, and she basically hit Kavanaugh with two violent shots that, and the second one dropped her, and after she got dropped, it was over basically from there. Even though she drew one punch on the ground, but it was over for Kavanaugh. And Cyborg once again, their title defense and their impressive violent victory as well. And also Kayla Harrison was there in attendance, who's a free agent from PFL, who's 12-0. And that's a fight that people like to see, Kayla and Cyborg, especially at 145. So who knows? Maybe she might go over there. Maybe she stays in PFL. we'll wait and see. What are your thoughts on this fight, Dan?
Well, to be honest, I'm sorry, I had to get my Jorge Masvidal robe on. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening on the podcast platform, you can't see it, but right now I have a velvety nice robe right now. Came home from work, had to get comfortable, and how else to get comfortable in a Jorge Masvidal style, nice velvety robe.
That's a nice
But
robe, I have to say.
yeah, very nice. Thank you. But yeah, I agree with you 100% in what we saw with Chris Cyborg versus Kavanaugh. It was a completely dominant effort out of the first round. There's sometimes where you watch it, like, what a fighter is good at, and you can kind of see like whether the opponent across from them has enough or has a game plan to kind of deal with that. And what I saw was like immediately off the bat, Cyborg having the ability to just forward pressure someone. Sinead Kavanaugh did not deal with that very well at all. Like, there were moments where I felt like she kind of walked into a couple of Chris Cyborg shots that she didn't really need to, things of that nature. So it was just it was a different look, man. I know you want to go down the Kayla Harrison road.
Right?
I do too. But Kayla, really, she's in a group right now. She's in a rare group where she can kind of call her own shot, if she will. She can go to any, realistically, if she chooses to sign to any, any other promotion other than PFL and decides to compete, her name will ring bells because she's one of those people like a Alex Pereira, the guys who, if you're really a fan of the sport, then you've heard of this guy, and sooner or later that person is going to make their rounds into the big stage. So I know like the big hoopla is Kayla Harrison versus Cyborg, but I want to ask you a question, man. Cyborg, ever since you know what? Ever since she's touched down in Bellator, she's had nothing but dominant wins.
Right. All finishes too.
All finishes. I just want to ask, like, was it too premature for the UFC to take Cyborg out of the rotation to kind of just like after that one fight with Amanda Nunes say that's it?
Well, if you remember, she fought Felicia Spencer after Nunes in July 2019. She won that fight. Felicia Spencer showed her toughness because she, after 2 minutes of that fight, Cyborg dominated Spencer, and then there was an incident with her and like Dana White and like someone from her team recording it, and then Dana got angry, and yeah, I think that's what happened. I think she was a free agent, if I'm not mistaken, after the Felicia fights, and then she went to Bellator. Yeah, like I said, should the UFC try to re-sign her? Yeah, they should have. Of course they should have, because Cyborg was, still is a great fighter. I mean, she's still dominating girls, beating them up, knocking them out and stuff. And even the Amanda fight, I mean, yeah, she got finished, but people forget she rocked Amanda in that fight.
This is something I wanted to bring up. I really I actually rewatched that fight 5 times, Amanda versus Cyborg, because it was like that was, oh man, how else can I say it? The amount of action that went on in that one round between Amanda and Cyborg, it was I mean, you know what? I can't say the amount of action. The pace that those two were going at, I can almost similarly liken it. I know it just recently happened, so it's fresh in our minds. I can liken it to a Chandler versus Gagey type of fight, because these two didn't want to wrestle each other. They just wanted to throw leather. That's it.
Right.
Just swing and whoever tumbles down first, that's it. But other than that, they just wanted to swing at each other. And so, like, rewatching that fight, it wasn't like Cyborg had absolutely nothing for Amanda Nunes. If anything, it seemed like, there was a chance for, I don't know how else to say it, but there was always a chance for that rematch to happen and things would look differently in my eyes.
Yeah, I think so too. Because I think it would have looked differently if they rematch again. Considering Cyborg probably doesn't go shooter box style, and just be reckless for her shots after hurting Amanda. Just be reckless, where to the point where Amanda was able to catch her, and that's what really turned the fight. Because Cyborg got reckless after hurting Amanda. I think she would have learned and been patient and changed. And I think you see Cyborg has, for most part, some recent fights have been more patient, not being reckless, trying to be more disciplined and stuff. So she's definitely learned from that. And even so, yeah, I think if they would have rematched, it would have been different, definitely. It wasn't like Cyborg didn't want the rematch. After she beat Felicia Spencer, she was wearing a shirt basically promoting the rematch. She wanted to fight in January 2020. She wore a shirt that basically was promoting it, but it was just up to UFC to re-sign her. But that didn't happen.
And that's a shake my head kind of moment because I'm looking at the landscape, I don't know how to say this. Like, I know Amanda's dominant right now, but realistically, how much competition is sitting for her in these quasi two divisions that she's holding the belts in?
I mean, 145 doesn't really have a. That's not really a real division, personally. That's not. That's one reason why I don't want Kale Harrison going over there personally. But I know, but to get back to the topic, I mean, they don't have a 145 division, so even 135. I mean, maybe. I mean, well, nah. She had to win a couple. If Misha Tate wins her next two fights, a rematch, because from those two, maybe if that's obviously Misha wins, we don't know. We'll break more of that down later on. Um, Holly Holm, I mean, Duranemy, I don't see because she beat Duranemy twice, and plus she just take Duranemy down, hold her down, and win by grappling.
It's yeah. That's a question I'd have to ask for the chat, really. That's something I'd ask for, someone, other than us two. I would want more people to chime in and things of that nature. Maybe there's a name that we're forgetting, but for right now, it seems like the UFC did a disservice to competition, period. As far as helping Amanda to, help claim that stake of most dominant and answering questions of what if. I
Right.
think that's the one thing where it failed at. I mean, but other than that, I just it was just an impressive performance from Cyborg altogether. And so, what's the next thing you want to roll into?
Um, yeah, yeah, I just want to give a quick shout out to Aaron Pico for winning his fight against Justin Gonzalez, who was 12-0 coming this fight, dominating him 30-27, 30-27, 30-26 on in the three judges scorecards. So Pico was able to use his wrestling instead of flying firefly action. He used his wrestling to be able to be a guy who had never lost, 12-0, which is pretty a good record. As Pico has won I believe 5 in a row now. As Pico is finally showing what everyone thought he was going to be when he first came to Bellator. Considering he had a lot of hype, going into his fight, to his debut fight in Bellator, and training with Freddie Roach and being a great wrestler as well. Jackson Winklejohn has definitely helped him out ever since he went there. He's turned into a much better fighter, and Greg Jackson and Mike Winklejohn have done an excellent job, which is not surprising considering those are two all-time great coaches. So give a shout out to Aaron Pico there. Like I said, my dream fight, and hopefully if you're Bellator, you want Pico and Adrian McKee hopefully by the end of next year, but we shall see. Anyway, you want to comment before we talk to UFC this past Saturday's UFC?
Um, I had remember Friday I had come off of work. I
Okay,
tried
yeah,
to
yeah.
recatch some of them, but the only matchup I could catch for the Bellator fight was the Cyborg main event. So I'm
Okay.
sorry right there.
That's fair. Okay, and so let's move on to this past UFC event with Holloway Yair Rodriguez, and a lot happened in this card. A lot of good fights and finishes. The last, I believe, no, not the last. Excuse me. Obviously the main event was a decision, but before that, the previous six fights were finishes at least. So I mean, we want to start with Andrea Lee and Cynthia Calvillo.
Um, Andrea Lee versus Cynthia Calvillo. I did not. I didn't catch the fight. I didn't catch the preliminaries for this card. The only fights I was able to catch were the full main event. So, if you want to start from Song Yadong versus Julio Arce.
Yeah, okay. Julio Arce. Yeah, yeah, I'll start there. Yeah, so Song Yadong beats Julio Arce via TKO strikes in the second round, 1:35, and Song Yadong, has a lot of power in his hands, and he showed it in the second round. He hurt him with I forgot, a right that stung Julio. Then he came in and threw a head kick and another right, and that's where Julio was in trouble. And then he landed two more punches, and then he went down. And ref stopped the fight. And Song Yadong is very talented. He trains with Team Alpha Male over in Sacramento, California, which, you know anything about Team Alpha Male, they really get a lot out of the smaller guys, whether it be 125ers, 135ers, 145ers. It seems like an Alpha Male. They tend to have good wrestling and, powerful punchers. And, Song Yadong went over from China to over there to, work on his wrestling, if I'm not mistaken. It's worked out well for him. He's ranked number 15 going in this fight, and now he gets a finish, so he's probably going to move up the rankings. And from here on out, he's going to be probably fighting ranked opponents, which does make sense for him. And what are your thoughts on this fight, Dan?
It was a very impressive showcasing for Song Yadong completely. I agree with you there, but oh man, the one thing I want to say is that you're absolutely right in the people he should be fighting. He should go for a name, a lot more names, things of that nature. But it, if you want to, I don't know. He already has the victory against this guy, but this guy is kind of being more impressive, and he's moving all around the card against, as opposed to Song Yadong. If Song Yadong maybe calls out for, he shouldn't because he won it. But if maybe
it was controversial. I know you're talking about.
Yeah, Cheeto Vera, right?
I think a lot of people thought Cheeto won if the judges had a bad night that night. That was that's one of those controversial fights that maybe if you're maybe Song wants to prove he can beat Cheeto, but if you're Cheeto Vera, you just finished Frankie Edgar. Maybe you're looking at top 10 guys. Maybe he's more focused on find guys above him with bigger names. Possibly, although I like, I do like that matchup. I understand where you're coming from.
Oh man,
you
understand where I'm coming. Yeah. That's why I can't say much more than that. Other than that, it was a very impressive. I just want to say very impressive. Showing by Song Yadong. Very tough. I saw this coming in the two fights prior he had. The one versus Kyler Phillips. That one was a loss, but I felt like that one I think he should have, if anything, if he trained his gas tank more, because Kyler Phillips kind of emptied out the gas tank in the first round. That one was something where I felt like he maybe could have pulled that one out. And then his last fight prior to this was versus Casey Kenny. And that I thought he just straight up dominated Casey Kenny, and the hype machine around Casey Kenny tried to make it look better for him, but I think he just all around dominated Casey Kenny. Song Yadong, man, I don't know what to say. Who in the ranking would you like to see him against?
I'm thinking, I haven't fought in a while. I like to see him go against Rafael Sunsao. He's ranked number 12. I haven't seen him in a little bit. He's always been, a mainstay in that division. Why not Song Yadong versus Rafael Sunsao?
That's an interesting one. You know what else would be an interesting one for me personally?
Which one?
I think because this guy has kind of been on a slippage here and there. If you kind of like these two, I think it would be great fireworks just for what's on the line for both fighters. But if you do Song Yadong versus Marlon Moraes,
yeah,
I think that one would be really good. I know Marlon is granted he is coming off of a couple losses versus guys who are up there in ranking and soon to make their claim in the division, but I think if Marlon is one of these, it would be an interesting fight where you have a guy in Marlon who's he's coming off of two losses, and if he loses to this guy, his ranking is gonna drop all the way down versus Song Yadong, who basically he sees Marlon with a juicy number in front of him, and it's just one of those things where they can play off of each other and help each other out as far as what they're putting up. So I think that would be an interesting fight for this division.
I think that's a good choice actually. Marlon versus Song, because they both have power, both can hit hard and can finish each other. The thing with Marlon's always been his gas tank. He tends to gas out. The weight cut affects him. Maybe you may argue maybe he should go to 145, although maybe he might not be big for that, but still I think Marlon and Song Yadong is a good matchup considering Marlon's last fight he almost finished Merab, but
Yeah.
Merab was able to get out there and able to take him down, control him, and just tire him out and ground pound him. But yeah, Marlon can still fight. Marlon can still dangerous on the feet, and if you're not careful, he might hurt you and put you out, especially when you get tired. So yeah, Marlon Song Yadong is a good idea, or Sunset on Song Yadong it could be a good idea, or maybe Chio Vera and Song Yadong. Any one of those fights are a good choice in my opinion, personally.
Most definitely. So with that being said, let's move on right into this matchup. The next fight on this card, it was Khaos Williams versus Miguel Baeza, and this was oh my god, this was a great fight. Oh man, I enjoyed this fight so much. This fight had so much going for it. Oh my gosh. First off, before we, salute, I just want to say salute to salute to Khaos Williams, because he had the craziest line ever, which was, I know people are sleeping on me, but that's okay. I'll let the doctors wake him up. It's like, yo. It's like when you're saying something like that, it's like, wow, like you got some, you're like, whew. And he backs it up with his punches. Khaos puts people out. And this was one of these fights where, I'm not even gonna lie, he showed this was a different Khaos Williams, a more patient Khaos Williams, a Khaos Williams who was willing to use more of his weapons, because Miguel Baeza was a person who was willing to use all of his weapons as well. I know Miguel kind of stuck with his leg kicks a lot more than Khaos did, and that was kind of his detriment there. Like ladies and gentlemen, if you could hear it on the telecast, both his coaches and the commentators, like, they pointed it out. It was like, yo, you're leaving too much of a gap in between your kicks. So by the time you throw a kick and your foot comes down and you're kind of waiting for the next kick, Khaos is coming forward with 2-3, punches and bunches, and he has power behind those hands. So that's not something you really want to do. If you're going to throw the kick, then keep making him guess, switch up the rhythm, things of that nature. And Miguel didn't do that. So coming into the third round, Khaos figured out the rhythm after his leg got chopped up viciously in the second round and in the first round. And even to a point, I believe in the first round, Miguel Baeza almost had a heel hook in on Khaos Williams, but Khaos was calm enough to kind of fight through the hands and get to where he needed to be for the positioning. But man, his leg was torqued something serious, but he still was, had enough in the gas tank that when it came time for that third round, he caught Miguel Baeza. I believe, what was it? Miguel come off with the kick.
Yes, and so a right hook or a right something.
It's a right, and then Miguel, he pops up. The right makes him pop up. Khaos lands the left, and Miguel goes flat, and then Khaos comes right back down, finishes it with ground and pound. But oh my Lord, this was a great fight, and this isn't to take away from Miguel Baeza, because we're going to break down another fighter who I felt, if anything, he should watch this fighter and take tips from this fighter if you're going to have that approach. But man, this was a fireworks fight filled with violence of the like Austin, tell me what were your thoughts on this fight, man?
This was a very entertaining fight. Miguel Baeza kept throwing leg kicks, and it was somewhat affecting Khaos, because Khaos kept eating them, but at the same time he left himself open to get countered with the leg, throwing the leg kicks, and also give credit to Khaos Williams for the fact that he was in a heel hook, looked like, or a knee bar, and at one point it looked like it was really bad. I was like, oh man, is he gonna tap or? Oh man, it's gonna be bad for Khaos, but he was calm and cool and was able to fight out of it and not, do a jerk motion where it can make it worse. And he showed his, grappling, his grappling defense there. And then the third round, yeah, it was a great performance from there, great moment there. And then of course the finish where Baeza does leg kick again, but Khaos catches him and does a left that drops him, and then it hits him with one shot on the ground, and it was it. And then Khaos Williams got power. People forget. Last year he had if it weren't for Joaquin Buckley doing what he did last year, the knockout he had last year could have been a contender for knockout of the year. But I forget the guy he knocked out, but it was very violent.
Oh, Antonio Hoyo.
Antonio Hoyo, okay, Antonio Hoyo, and are you sure it was him?
Joaquin Buckley has a lot of knockouts. Give me one.
No. I was talking about Joaquin. We knocked out the African guy. If Joaquin hadn't done that,
I know who you're talking about.
Forget his name. I know
John Lam. Oh man.
But I was saying, Joaquin had his impressive knockout, and then Khaos Williams does his a couple weeks later, and it was just it was very vicious and violent. But the problem is, everyone kind of forgets that, and he's fought I think 3 times since then, and he hasn't got a knockout. He lost the fight. His next fight, I know he lost. Then he won, a previous fight, and he won this one a year almost to the date of his last knockout. And he has either way, they both were impressive and both got a job done. And Miguel Baeza was protesting afterwards, but it was the right call. He got knocked out. He got dropped, and he was out. It's that the shot on the ground woke him up, so he thought he was still in it. But the referee, I forget which ref it was, did the right, stopped at the right time. But yeah, great performance by Khaos Williams. That he's definitely someone who could be a prospect to watch out for potentially. And I'll let you say what you're gonna say, Dan.
No, it's just because when you said it just resonated with me. Impa Kasanagi, or that's his name or something like that.
Yeah,
I know. See, if you would let me know the spinning back kick.
Yes.
The spinning back kick that left the dude like Mortal Kombat. Yeah,
that knockout. The one knockout of the year. That knockout. Look, I was just saying, Khaos Williams had another impressive knockout himself that really didn't get a lot of attention because it was only a few weeks after Joaquin Buckley's spinning back kick knockout, unfortunately. But Khaos Williams, he got power. He can knock you out, and it violently. He has that ability, and he showed it here. And Khaos Williams, definitely, like I said, that quote you mentioned about how, for the doctor and stuff, that's a pretty damn impressive quote. Especially if he keeps winning by this, that's going to become an iconic quote to MMA. If he wins, obviously, he's got to keep winning. But that's potential, though, to be a iconic quote in MMA.
If he doesn't have to keep winning. I think he has to just win 2 more times in an impressive fashion, and that'll be the moniker. A fighter sometimes just need that little piece of marketing to help push them over the edge. You have a quote like that, man. It's one of those things where that was just beautiful. People keep sleeping on me. That's fine. I'll let the doctors wake them up. That's
That's a great quote. That is really an excellent quote. Whew.
Excellent. So with that being said, if there's anything else you want to bring to the attention of this fight, I want to move on from this and head right into Felicia Spencer versus Leah Letson.
This was the one main card fight I didn't see. It was this one.
Okay, so then this one I I can break this down very fast, and we can move on to the next fight.
Go ahead.
Felicia Spencer came in and just dominated for 3 rounds completely. Like really dominated for 3 rounds. Leah Letson had nothing for her because Felicia Spencer, what she decided to do for the first round essentially was like dirty boxing / grappling, where it's like, we're going to stay in the clinch because I say so. I'm going to punch you when I want to. I'm going to go for a takedown when I want to. If you stuff my takedown, I'm not going to be greedy and try and reshoot. We're already in the clinch. I'm just going to keep softening you up with these punches until I get what I want. She didn't get the takedown round 1, but we all saw what Felicia Spencer's MO was for this fight. So now my thing was for Leah Letson, what is the adjustment coming in from the first round to the second round? You see she's coming with, pressure. She wants to hold you up against the cage. You kind of need space, but you can't back up. You can't spend the entire round backing up because Felicia Spencer's she has too good of a footwork. She's not going to let you just back up in a circle. Leah Letson decided the first thing to do when she for the second round was to back up. So now that gave Felicia Spencer all the room to just kind of charge in, get the shoot. If the shoot didn't work, to get the takedown, right back into the clinch, softening up with punches and trying to shoot and just clinching, dirty boxing, things of that nature. Third round, Felicia Spencer started getting her takedown. She started getting her on the ground, things of that nature. She got her to the ground and punching her, things of that nature. It got to a point where her corner, Felicia Spencer's corner, had to tell her, hey, give the referee a reason to stop the fight. And that was excellent coaching by her corner because she had dominated the fight through and through. But truly, to make it a statement win, a good win, you can't let this type of fight go to a decision, especially if you're dominant all 3 rounds. This wasn't going to be this wasn't going to be a 30-27 or no, 30-26, 30-25 type of domination. That's what I thought the judges were going to let it go through. And so it may have been so at some point the judges might have docked her even a point during the third round if she was just, laying on top of Leah Letson and kind of just punching for points and things of that nature. So you get the finish, you get out of there safe and sound. She had little to no damage done to her. It was just an overall dominant performance for Felicia Spencer. And for Leah Letson, I do not know where she goes from here, but this is one of these things where she's going to watch the tape, and she's going to be sorely disappointed because there were it wasn't like Felicia Spencer was just too much of an athlete for her. It was just one of those things where your head wasn't in the game for that night, and that's what happened.
Okay. Okay, well, it seems like Felicia had a dominant, easy victory, I have to say, basically for her, and I mean, and that's good for her. And I was gonna mention something else. I forgot what I was gonna mention. Oh yeah. Well, it'd be interesting to see where she goes from here, considering it's 145 division. You don't. I mean, it's very thin. I mean, she might have to win a couple more fights if he wants the Amanda rematch, and who knows what happens, what Amanda does. So we shall see what's next for Felicia. Also, I do want to shout out to her. She's from, lives in Winter Park, which is like basically 10 minutes from Orlando. Well, not even. It's like right next to Orlando where I live. So, like, for me, local, fighter. So, yeah, shout out to her. And I guess let's go to the co-main event because, it was a lot. Well, not a lot, but something interesting happened to say the least.
With this co-main event,
Yes. Yes.
we can head right into it. The co-main event was in the heavyweight division. It was Rodrigo de Lima versus Ben Rothwell, and this fight ended in the first round. Marcos Rodrigo de Lima won it via punches, standing TKO. Um, what was controversial? Because you'd have to let me know.
No, I also controversial. So it was like her. Okay, so Lima was hitting Ben Rothwell, right? And then all of a sudden, Herb Dean, touches Lima, DeLima, and when a ref touches a fight, usually they stop because that's what they're supposed to do. But then Herb was like, I think at first Herb was like, Herb didn't, it wasn't like immediately Herb said the fight's over. Herb kind of like was delayed and like it was kind of like very delayed reaction, and Lima didn't know what to do. I think Lima was about to go back to, punching Rothwell, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and then Herb said, okay, no, fight's over type of vibe. And the thing is, if you're a referee, you shouldn't touch a fighter unless you're going to stop the fight or a foul occurred or something, or maybe a mouthpiece is all taken off. You got, because if most fighters when a ref touches them, they stop immediately because that's what they're instructed to do. And the thing with Herb is that I guess Dana White was unhappy with Herb doing that. He's basically saying don't touch someone unless the fight you're going to stop the fight. And the fight definitely deserved to be stopped because Ben Rothwell had basically he got rocked. And once he got rocked, he basically couldn't answer. And Lima, was seemed like a lot faster than him, and that was the difference. He just kept rocking Rothwell, and I think Rothwell got fell down. And from there it was over. So yeah, DeLima definitely wins the fight. Good performance from him, and the Herb Dean thing. Well, it was right to stoppage, but the problem is if you're gonna do that, you have to be what's the term? Big John McCarthy broke it down. He made a good point. You can't be indecisive. You have to make a decision, like especially if you're gonna be a referee in that situation. I forget something like that. I know Big John broke it down pretty well, and he definitely agreed that there was the right time to stop the fight.
As much as I would love to agree with Dana and Big John McCarthy on this one, remembering how fast paced this finish was and what occurred, I can't blame Herb Dean for his actions. If there's I don't know, if anyone listening to this on podcast form, and if you didn't watch this fight, essentially, if you could just imagine, you have Marcos de Lima. He has Ben Rothwell almost against the cage. He's swinging, trying to catch Ben Rothwell. Rothwell is kind of dodging them and, blocking some of them, things of that nature. Then Rothwell eats one. Marcos de Lima is very fast. So now, once he feels that he's hit Rothwell and Rothwell stumbles a little, Marcos starts pouring it on. While Marcos is pouring it on, right? This is the thing. This is why I can't blame Herb Dean for this. When Marcos is pouring it on, right? No one in the crowd, no one there registers that he's missing a lot of these punches that he's pouring on up until the slow motion camera happens. When the slow motion camera shows up, it shows that even though Ben Rothwell got rocked and he got rocked a couple of times, he slipped some of the punches that Marcos de Lima was throwing in a flurry. It's just that he's slipping so much, it's fast paced, and then he gets caught with one at the right time, just when I guess Herb Dean thinks like maybe he's throwing one punch too many, things of that nature. So now he gets hit at the right time, and then Ben Rothwell kind of rolls over and tries to grab Marcos de Lima's leg to survive the round. But it's too late, and Herb Dean stops the fight right there when it should have happened. I don't see a reason for Dana White to be upset at Herb Dean, especially looking at how fast that happened. Like, really looking at how fast Marcos de Lima unleashed those punches on Ben Rothwell. Especially he had him against the corner. I mean, they had him against the cage. Ben Rothwell's hands are not up. He's a stationary target right now. He's kind of looking at him like it's a sandbag. And Marcos de Lima, he was the faster fighter. And so it was one of these things where, like, I can't blame Herb Dean. Like, I really watched it, and I remember watching it live, and then when the camera angle showed, I had to tell myself, okay, Ben Rothwell still wasn't down yet in the flurry of punches until now. That last punch out of the flurry, that's what got him. And so, like, Herb, I don't know. I know Herb is closer than all of us, but sometimes even with it, even with a person being close, if a person's throwing a whole bunch of punches and a guy is kind of just standing there, he's swaying his body left and right in the heat of the moment, it will look like, he's connecting.
Right. And the thing I think with Herb Dean is that he kind of has a history of doing this, where he'll like it looks like he's about to stop it, then says no, but it gets too close where a fighter will stop doing doing action, but he thinks he's gonna be stopped, but Herb says continue fighting. I think that's the issue with some people with Herb is that he has a history, and that's what it is. It's that even though, like I said, it was the right time to stop the fight because Ben was it was a tough spot for Ben to get out of. It's just that the thing is, it seems like he's done it more recently, where it looks like he's about to stop a fight, get close, and all of a sudden the fighter stops doing action, and then all of a sudden he says, no, keep going, and it's like, I think that's the issue. Like I said, I get where you're coming from, because I get this situation, I think it's, hurting it's the right time to stop the fight.
Okay, see, to that point, I'm going to say something that, I don't know, it may sound out of pocket coming from little old me, but I think that's on the fighters right there. I don't think that's on Herb Dean. I think that's on the fighters. And when you said that, like the image that kind of popped up into my head was Sean O'Malley versus Thomas Almeida. I don't know if you remember that fight, Austin. I don't know. You're frozen up right now. You good?
Yeah. Am I good?
Okay, you're good. You're good. All right.
All right.
I don't know if you remember that fight, but Sean O'Malley, he catches Thomas Almeida with a 1-2 combo. Almeida goes down, right? He covers up. Sean thinks it's a knockout. He can walk off because the referee kind of, comes up in between them. Sean walks away. The referee's looking at him like, what are you doing? Thomas Almeida looks at Sean like, what are you doing? Sean O'Malley turns around, looks at the ref like, what's going on? The ref looks at Sean and says, I never told you to stop. And that's where it comes on to the fighters. Fighters always, and we're seeing this, fighters want to anticipate when the referee is going to stop them. No, the referee stops you when he stops you. That's it. You don't anticipate that stop and go, oh, the referee is coming close. He must be coming close because I'm doing such a good job. Let me walk away now the fight is done. No. Like Jorge Masvidal says, all those punches after he hit the ground were super necessary. You don't tell me to stop. Dana White doesn't tell me to stop. People in the crowd don't tell me to stop. The referee has to tell me to stop. That's where I think that discrepancy is happening, where I think Herb Dean is getting in trouble because fighters don't. You're in there. The part of the job is to get the victory via submission, knockout, or referee stoppage. And referee stoppage means the referee coming in, stopping you, he's making an emphasis out of to stop the fight. We know what a referee looks like when they make that emphasis to stop the fight. And I don't think Herb Dean made those gestures there. He was kind of in the middle of it, dancing, but I don't think he really touched anyone yet. And even if he did touch Marcos de Lima, he didn't tell Marcos de Lima to stop.
Right, but that's true. However, if you're if you're beating someone and you're on top of them and the referee touches you, you're thinking it's easy for Lima to think the fight's over, or someone think the fight's over. If you're watching, you see Lima basically pounding on Ben Rothwell, and you see Herb D basically go right next to him, like looks like put his hands on him. You're thinking, oh, the fight's over. He's it's easy for someone to see that, but I get where you're coming from, though, Dan.
Nah, I agree with you there. That I think that's confusing in the sense of Herb shouldn't have done that. He shouldn't have. Herb is a professional. He's gonna be more, careful, watch over the tapes, things of that nature, and see when he wants to approach a fighter to stop it and things of that nature. But for me, man, I know if every fighter is complaining, oh, Herb is too close, things of that nature. He's a referee, the best seat in the house. he's supposed to have the best seat in the house because he's enforcing rules and he's helping fighters get out of there safely to the best degree that they can within within the realm of combat. That if anyone wants to complain for Herb just getting close, I think that's more so on the fighters. You got to finish the job out there.
Most definitely, and congratulations to Lima for getting a victory. The knockout victory as well. And we'll see where he goes from here. He's a guy who's a name who tends to have exciting fights. He's someone you definitely watch to see what happens. He's not a guy that's going to be a title contender. Well, maybe we'll see, but he's not a ranked guy. But he's a guy that's if you beat Lima, usually means you can tell that you got potential basically. So we'll see what's next for Lima and for Rothwell. And so from there, let's go to the main event. This fight between Max Holloway, Yair Rodriguez. This was Yair's first fight in 2 years, which is crazy to think. It's been 2 years since he fought. And so, despite being off for 2 years, he looked good. I mean, he brought to Holloway the leg kicks early on. Really, he was landing a lot of them, and with a lot of them. And Holloway, Holloway kept moving forward, but you could tell it was somewhat affecting Holloway a little bit. And he landed some shots on Holloway. Holloway got hit in this fight, and Yair was able to hit him maybe conventional style or orthodox stuff. But in the end, Holloway was able to match the pace of Yair Rodriguez, and he put on a show for against Yair, and he even busted Yair's like this part. I forget actually which part of his butt cheek. I think the right cheek. I believe, and he busted it. And then also he was able to get takedowns in rounds 3 and 4, which were a major difference. Why he was able to win those rounds very convincingly. 1, 2, and 5 are very competitive, very close. 3 and 4 are clear Max Holloway rounds. The takedowns, the grappling exchanges, and we saw Holloway's grappling, which is something we don't see often with Holloway. Usually Holloway, you see his hands and maybe his elbows, but grappling you don't see. He was going for submissions. He even had I think it was like a guillotine attempt, or I forget what submission he had on Yair. Because I know Yair tried one. Well, it was more so to escape a better position and guillotine himself. And one thing I noticed with this fight is that Holloway did land several knees to Yair. When Yair was near the cage, he would throw a knee, and especially if Yair was ducking his head or he had a clinch situation, and it would land. Not that it ever wobble Yair, but he was landing them though. That makes sense. And also with Holloway even I don't want to say he threw a lot of shots that did affect Yair, especially if the fight kept going on. That he never wobble him or anything, but you can tell Yair was feeling the effects of the punches. And with Yair, he went away from the leg kicks. He had a calf kick, which was kind of strange because it was working so well. Well, it looks like maybe he broke his foot, because we know he has a broken foot now. I'm not sure if you've seen the picture of his foot after the fight, how bad it was. You shake your hand, yes.
Oh yes, I saw that foot.
Yeah,
I saw that foot.
It was bad. So I'm thinking maybe he broke that foot, because I know he's wearing those little fighters sometimes they wear those little things in their feet, like Dominic Cruz does.
What, they had the bandaging around the foot?
Yes, I think Yair had that in this fight. So it looks like maybe it was something that was bothering him going into this fight, and then he just maybe made it worse by all the kicks. Either way, Yair is tough. You want to say something, Dan?
No, go ahead.
Yair is tough. We know Yair is a tough guy. Can take punishment, but also dish it out as well. The Frankie Edgar fight. I remember he got beat up badly 4 years ago. We fought Frankie Edgar, but Yair's a guy who he's always has a shot to win, especially after the way he did the Korean Zombie 3 years ago, where he won with 1 second left, despite being down 3 rounds to 1 that fight. So Yair can always win a fight, but Max Holloway showed why he is, in my opinion, the best featherweight in the world. First round he lost, but he made adjustments, was able to tag Yair with boxing, he chose case grappling, able to do things to whether it be grappling, boxing, or even clinch work. He did different things to get the victory, and Max Holloway wins again in another impressive performance and entertaining fight. He won this fight 48-47, 2 judge scorecards. One judge gave him 48-9, 46, and and both guys are definitely two of the elite featherweights in the world. So, what are your thoughts on this fight, Dan?
Um, I agree with everything you said. I don't know if Yair came in with something bothering that foot because he was just. I think he was gonna throw his feet regardless. He's that comfortable of a fighter. Um, it was impressive to me the gas tank that Yair Rodriguez had coming off of a 2 year layoff. You come in, your first fight is against Max Holloway in a 5-round fight. You spent the better of 3, maybe 4 rounds throwing kicks from all different positions and things of that nature. 5th round, we're thinking you're gassed. You have nothing in the tank. All you're really gonna do is dance around. He had pops in his punches, was still throwing kicks whenever he could. Yair Rodriguez was very, very impressive. So impressive. I know the you said rounds 3 and 4 were definitely Max. Round 5, I think you could even give to Max. Really looking at it, like I know these guys were kind of dead even and kind of moving around, and they both came forward. They both had a forward pressure, and it seemed like neither of these guys were tired into the 5th round. Both of them came in at, like just game bred, tight, and ready to fight. Like that's just what it was, and everything was top notch. Like they didn't wrestle too much, but even when they did wrestle, it was top level, top notch, top level, like techniques and execution, things of that nature. With the striking, oh my god, the striking was beautiful. I know I've sung Yair's praises enough, so let me get to my boy Max Holloway. Because Max, oh my God, Max, man, with the ones and twos, man. Whenever you have Max with the ones and twos, and I know, yeah, like everyone wants to say that the first and the second round you can give to Yair Rodriguez. I think people want to give it to him based off the numbers, the counting totals of what happened during those first 2 rounds, seeing as how he just totaled more. But to me personally, man, in the first round, you started to see it in the 3 minute mark when Max landed a couple good combos on Yair Rodriguez. Like it, whatever damage Yair was throwing with his legs, it couldn't match the accuracy and damage that Max was going for with his hands. And whenever he did throw those combos, like I know Yair landed a kick or two, but he landed one kick. Max ended up throwing 1 or 2 punches. So the numbers won't, the numbers overall won't say things like, that Max was overall dominant for this performance, but it was just one of those things to me where like Max just he was in the zone completely. And this is once again to not take away from Yair Rodriguez and what he did, because I don't know what else to say. I don't want to take nothing away from both of these guys. Both of these guys were just excellent for this fight. Very,
They,
very excellent, man.
yeah, both of them were great. They both had great performances. They both, faced adversity, kept fighting, came through. Even the 5th round, I thought Holly won 3, 4, and 5. Me personally, but excuse me, but Yair was still laying some big shots on Holloway in that 5th round, despite me giving the round to Holloway. He kept fighting to the end, and both guys kept going at each other, and they both were bloody. Both hurt each other. Well, Yair is more bloody. Well, Holloway was somewhat bloody, but not like too much though. But even you can tell he'd been in a fight, and
No, but it was one of those things where, like, whenever Max Holloway gets into the fight, like his usual spots on his face that gets, swollen due to how many fights he's had in his young life. Like, I don't know, the guy's like 28,
not
29.
29.
He's 29 years old and has had how many fights? Like, Max is a legend in the game. And so, like, 29, like, Max, at the age of 29, he's had 29 fights. He's essentially had a fight for every year he's been on this earth. Come on
Crazy,
now. It's
crazy, yeah.
crazy. So now, like, it was one of those things where because Max has been in a whole lot of fights, the usual spots on his face that would get swollen ended up getting swollen. Yo, this kind of went under the radar, but I just want to point it out. It might have been that second or the 3rd round where, like you said, when Max got Yair in close to the gate, he'd throw the knees and things of that nature. He wanted to create that space. Reason being is you kind of don't want to headhunt, and like when you think you have Yair Rodriguez on the on the ropes, you kind of just don't want to abandon it all and just throw with volume. But Max, every fighter gets their hand caught in the cookie jar one time, and Yair caught Max in the cookie jar because Max tried it, and when Max came down one time to really try and maybe get an uppercut on Yair, Yair had that elbow waiting for him.
That's right. Yeah.
Right there, I saw it, and but see, what's even crazier was Max ate that elbow and still kept marching forward like a fighter, bro, like a true fighter, and that's, oh my god, kudos
Yeah.
to Max.
Yeah, close to him, close to his chin. He's got a great chin. I don't think he's ever been knocked down. Even the Poirier fight, where the second one where they both went back and forth, Poirier didn't knock him down. Surprisingly, yeah. I mean, he's got one heck of a chin. He's tough, tough man. I mean, him and Yair. Obviously, Yair's got a great chin in his own rights. Both of them do, and it showed. That's why the fight was so damn good. It was because their chins showed up, their skills were there, and they both. There was an excellent fight, a really excellent fight. Considering this was a week after Gaethje and Chandler, they come out with this fight. It's just, man, what incredible this was. Freaking incredible. Max Holloway wins again. Like I said, in my opinion, showing that he is still the best 145-pounder in the world. And to me, there's only one fight that makes sense for Max Holloway. You know what it is. Trilogy fight Volkanovski. Certainly Volkanovski wants this fight now.
That's the fight to make.
Yes.
It is the fight to make. But
both guys came through tough fights where they both got challenged and hurt, and they came back and won.
I mean, oh man, no one else in the division deserves a title shot.
No, I mean, Giga not yet. Maybe one more victory, maybe. Zabit went in for 2 years also. We got to see Zabit come back and win. Korean Zombie, I know he won his last fight, but I'm not. But Korean Zombie might have to maybe beat one of those guys, or he probably put himself in the title picture.
Arnold Allen, maybe.
That's right, Arnold Allen, but he hasn't fought since early this year.
So then what? Arnold Allen versus Giga for the number one contendership?
Yeah, I think so.
And that's a shame right now because I just completely tossed Max's name out of the thing. But it's one of them things like I don't need to say Max's name because it's like, yo, who's the number one contender for that title? It's Max. But we have to, like, it has to be Max. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Giga's 8, Arnold's 6, Zombie's 4, Holloway's 1. The UFC rankings.
I'm sorry. This is one of this is one of these things where, like, I know Max is currently active right now, but bro, he's a shoo-in for Hall of Fame, bro.
Yes, he is. Oh yeah, of course. The Blessed Era, yeah.
Oh my god, but the Blessed Era is still because he's still. You know what I'm saying, bro? Like he's still here. Like he's not like, yo, and like people want to eat off the Blessed Era. Like Conor wants to eat off the Blessed Era right now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Holloway, kind of like mentioned it somewhat, but they always shut that down, saying how that's ridiculous, which I do agree. Plus, and yeah, Conor wants it. I mean, Volkanovski. It looks like basically by not mentioning Volkanovski, it seems like Volkanovski now wants the trilogy fight. By not mentioning him,
because he didn't mention it. Yeah, I guess we'll see, but I guess we have Volkanovski versus Holloway, and literally like a card prior to that, Chikaze versus Arnold Allen for the next number one contendership. We've made our matches.
I like that. And Zombie versus who's the other guy? Zombie versus shoot. No, Giga. No, it's Giga and R. Allen. I said, no, you know what? Zombie should probably fight the winner. Maybe rematch with Ortega. Maybe rematch with Yair. If they're not,
Zombie don't want that rematch with Ortega.
well, maybe. We gotta wait to see when Ortega comes back because he did take a beating, and Yair took a beating. So we gotta wait to see how long. Maybe Zombie fights the winner of Josh Emmett and with who Emmett and Dan Ige because they're about
But
fighting.
didn't,
No, they're
but
about fighting.
didn't, but then no, because I think why do I feel like Korean Zombie beat Dan Ige already?
You're right. He just that's his last fight. Last fight was victory with Dan Ige. You're right. I take that back.
So then I'm thinking the only thing here's the funny part. I'm looking at the rankings right now. The only thing left for Korean Zombie is Calvin Kattar.
Yeah, it's true. Cal and Cater, but I think Cal has his fight scheduled in January or December. I forget who it is. I know he has a fight coming up in the next month or two. I forget who it is though.
That's crazy. Is it Edson Barboza?
No, I don't think it is. It's someone else. Who's the next fight?
Bryce Mitchell?
No, I mean Bryce Mitchell. Where's he been? I haven't seen him in a while. I mean,
I'm kind of looking at the because I'm looking at this division right now, and I'm going, yo, like there's guys that Edson Barboza. He was on his way to, mention just having his name thrown around for, and then you have like Bryce Mitchell over here. Shane Burgos just came off of an impressive
victory.
Impressive victory.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Oh, wait a minute. Hold up. According to Tapology, Calvin Kattar is fighting Giga Chikazian in January.
Wow. I like Calvin Kattar, but why does it feel like they're feeding him to Chikaze?
Maybe Cal was on a roll before the Holloway beatdown, so
you're right.
And this is a year after the beatdown, almost a year to the day of the.
I ain't even gonna front. After a fighter faces Max, they usually, we seen what Max did for Brian Ortega.
Yes. even Aldo. I mean, Aldo lost those 2 fights, and then he won. What was it, 3 in a row for Volkanovski?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And yeah, so we'll. I mean, this featherweight division, like I said, things are gonna be working out because obviously we know the number 1 contenders, Holloway Volkanovski. Maybe by the time they fight, we'll find out the next contender will be Giga, Zombie, Arnold Allen when he comes back. So he fought in April against Youssef, the Nigerian contender. He beat him. That's what it was. So we'll see when Arnold Allen returns. Like I said, featherweight division is pretty exciting. I like this featherweight division. The UFC's got a great featherweight division. Bellator does. 145 is a pretty great division, regardless. A lot of talent.
Oh wow!
What
happened? Some news came across that I didn't even breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Ally Kenta is announcing his retirement.
Oh, he's like, really? Whoa.
The news just came across. Give me one moment. It was on MMAfighting.com. Along with congratulations to Henry Cejudo. He welcomes the birth of his daughter, America Cejudo.
Gotcha.
But yeah,
I see. Okay, I see. So MMA junkie. He's basically contemplating retirement, basically.
Because of the loss against Bobby Green, and I don't. Oh man, it isn't like I don't know what to say because Bobby Green is a great opponent.
He is, but I think it's the fact he got basically he barely did anything in that fight. Bobby Green just somewhat walked through him easily, kind of, and especially in New York, Madison Square Garden didn't help either.
So apparently he made it known on his Call Me. He revealed it on his Call Me Al show that he had he partially tore his ACL during the fight, and that essentially he's saying that if he fighting again, he essentially asked himself that question, and he's thinking that maybe that's it.
So it looks like he's really contemplating it. Because I'm an MMA junkie, like reading their article about it. It seems like basically he's almost like he mentioned like the Gaethje and Chandler fights, and those guys,
I'm gonna I want to read the quote verbatim. So
Okay.
essentially, here's what Ally Kenta said on his show: "Fighting again, I'm thinking that's it, man. I'm thinking that's it." Kenta said, that's the way to go out. Obviously, you want to go out on a win, but that shit's not worth it. You saw Michael Chandler and Justin Gaethje fight at UFC 268. Those guys, they beat the hell out of each other. That wasn't worth it. And then he reveals that about his mental state during the fight sequence, the fight ending sequence with Green. To be honest with you, I don't know. It was the first fight that I really gave up in. He didn't knock me unconscious. I churned and I covered up. I was still conscious. I knew what I was doing, but I kind of just wanted out. I realized he hit me hard, and it probably wasn't going to be a good night for me. I was not confident in my preparation. It's the first time in my career ever that I gave up in a fight. I used to watch people do that all the time and I could never understand it. But at this point, it's not life changing money for me to go in there. When you're younger, injuries happen and you heal. I'm 34 years old. You go in there, you get an injury, there's a good shot it's never going to heal. Doctors, I used to think Doctors, I used to think you get surgery and they fix it. Doctors can fix anything. I don't ever want to have surgery again. So
It sounds like he's retiring. The way he's talking, it's like someone a
no,
retired fighter
it's
about to
not. It's
say.
one of those things. No, it sounds like it's one of those things where he his his mentally he had the mentality of a fighter all before the before this fight, things of that nature, and he was just he had the mentality of a fighter, but going into the into the training camp, it seems like maybe he didn't prepare to the best that he should have, and so now he goes into that fight with the combination of him preparing not to the best that he should have, and his body is now giving him a different response to what he thought that his mind, what his body would usually do. I guess his mind kind of just like said that was it. I don't know. Ladies and gentlemen, this is rare that you ever get this from a fighter where someone is kind of admitting these things, but
That's true.
it is very rare. But if this is how Ally Kenta feels, then I don't salute to the career that he's had. I don't want to poo-poo anything that he's done in the ring, and it isn't even to take away. I don't want to like regardless of how he felt during that Bobby Green fight, it was still like overall that entire card was very impressive fireworks, and I was glad that he was a part of that. I'm glad for the career that he's had. If he is calling it quits, then he's always been a consummate pro and someone that other people can always look to. And I just you know just a hell of a career for Ally Kenta. That's what I wanted to say.
I agree with everything you said there about the quits. If he is calling quits, it seems like to me he's basically might happen. I do remain stuff like that. But if it is, guy was always entertaining. One of the more entertaining fighters. But came out Sarah Longo MMA. Met Sarah Ray Longo. Those guys in Long Island they continue to do well in MMA. Be Chris Weidman's success. UFC title. Aljamain Sterling. Despite what happened his last fight. I mean, now you got Marab. Devin Shealy coming up in the bantamweight division, and Al was always, one of those guys that always was staple of that gym that always did well. The guy was, yeah, he finished running up the Ultimate Fighter. The when he lost to Michael Chiesa, it was him and Chiesa in the finals. So Alan Quintus had a pretty good career. So if this is it for him, then hey, congratulations! And he's got the real estate thing going for him. It's like he's doing well on Long Island, which I'm not surprised, especially what's going on, but that's their story. But yeah, salute to Al. If he's retiring, Al Quinto.
Just a salute to him, and hope that everything, like the journeys he has after fighting, is even more so prosperous than the ones he's had in the octagon. Just that's the only thing I can say.
Right. Right, so I guess we'll transition there to breaking down this upcoming UFC card this Saturday between Miesha Tate and Kelton Vieira in the women's bantamweight division. Coming into Kelton Vieira is ranked number 7, Miesha Tate number 8, so they're basically one rank away from each other, top 10 girls. Kelton Vieira comes in 11-2, Miesha Tate 19-7. Kelly Vieira, I learned, is actually from a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Although she has 4 submission victories over 11 fight victories. Where Miesha Tate has a wrestling background. Obviously, she likes to take girls down and grapple with them. So I think it's a very interesting matchup with those two to see if Miesha going to use a lot of wrestling in her fight, or is she going to try stand and make it a stand up fight. What are your thoughts on this fight, Dan?
I'm mad. Miesha came back. When did she come back?
July.
This is a test of endurance for her.
Yeah, it's a good point. Considering it's her second fight since the 5-year layoff.
Second fight, 5-year layoff, but you're deciding to have a second fight within the same calendar year. This is a test of endurance. This is a test of her training camp, did she treat her training camp correctly? And also, is there a new wrinkle Miesha Tate is going to show us that she showed us from her last fight?
Good question.
If there is a new wrinkle, then I think this would be bigger than what she knows. Like, I know this is a 7-8 matchup as far as ranking, but even if you move up one spot in ranking, the fashion that you do it in can be so convincing, it can be so awe-inspiring that everyone around just goes, okay, I know this person's number 7 or whatever, but really their ranking should be like number 3. So for me, this is one of those fights where if Miesha shows us something new, then a more even more evolution from Miesha Tate, that from the last Miesha Tate that we saw, then this will be very interesting. But like I said with last fight and this fight right now, these two fights are all about Miesha Tate.
Yeah, you're right. It's about me. A lot of it is about Miesha and what she does and how she looks. Is she still a woman that won the bantamweight title from Holly Holm? Instead of that girl who was one who in Strikeforce UFC was able to be a top tier woman in that division, or is she someone who's lost a step and not exactly the woman that she once was? It'd be interesting to see. I know she had 2 kids, like within the last couple of years. So I mean, it's not just because you're a mother doesn't mean you can't fight anymore. I mean, Cat Zaganos has fought for a world title after giving birth to a child, which was, granted, that was years earlier, but still. So I'm interested. How's Miesha? How's her training? Is she learning new techniques? Is she still the same woman from 5 years ago? Also, Kelton Vieira, this is her biggest opportunity for her career. She's the main event of a ESPN show going against a legend, Miesha Tate. How does she react to it? Also, does the moment get too big for her? Does she make a statement victory and put herself in title contention? I know she's coming off her last fight was a loss to Yana Kunitskaya back in February in the Derek Lewis and Curtis Blaze card, and with Vieira, it seemed like she was on her way to being a title contender. Like 2018, she was 10-0. She just finished knocked out Kat Zagano, but then she had a year and a half layoff, and then she lost to Irene Aldana by punches in the UFC 245. Then she came back and fight Island Beast Sarja Eubanks and lost to Kunitskaya. So she's lost 2 of her last 3 fights. Is this a fight where she's able to get her confidence back? And if she still lost her confidence, I don't know if she has, but you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Can she go out there and basically get a victory against a legend in a big moment in her career, and may propel herself to possibly being someone who could challenge Amanda Nunes for the bantamweight title. As you know, that division can use new challengers, new blood also, or and let's see how she does. Like I said, she's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and Miesha Tate is a wrestler, so it will be interesting to see is become a striking matchup and who has the better striking of the two, or does Miesha, test that, use her, does she want to take her down? Does Yair want to go down with Miesha? Although me personally, I see like maybe whoever's the better striking wins this fight.
It may be that the better striking. Uh, it I wish I could say it might be better striking, but the way this fight is kind of kind of sorting itself out, I think it's really gonna be. And I hate saying this, but I have to explain this. It's really gonna be who's gonna be the better MMA fighter. And I know that sounds cliche-ish, but what I mean by that is truly mix in all the martial arts.
You know what?
If
You're
you
right.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
No, so you're right. You truly mix martial arts. I was just saying you're probably right about that. Whoever can mix the martial arts the best is probably gonna win this fight. The more I think about it, the more I realize, you know what, that actually makes more sense. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Dan.
No, we're just agreeing on the same thing. That's it. But yeah, because the striking, we know this, like the striking and the wrestling is gonna take it for both fighters is gonna take a part. Is gonna take is such an important part. I don't think the striking for both fighters has to be on that top tier level, things of that nature. Oh man, just mix it in. I don't know. It's either, man. How am I gonna? Oh man. Okay, you know what? I want to word this correctly because I'm sounding kind of choppy, but I want to word this correctly.
Okay.
Okay. Um, if Miesha mixes in her striking along with her wrestling, like really mixes it in, then that can be better for her as opposed to if Caitlin's if Caitlin's oh man. Essentially if Caitlin's striking is they did, like, I don't know how else to say it. Either someone's one skill set is going to, provide a gap that the other fighter can't, can't cover up, or if that one person's skill set can't provide that gap, then we're going to a person who's mixing it up enough that the other fighter just can't defend against both. And that's what we're going to come into with this fight.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think everything you said, I really can't add any on to that. I said, yeah, I think you're right. Whoever can mix it up and whoever skill set one area is greater than the others, that may be the difference between them winning the fight and them losing the fight. And it'll be interesting to see if this goes 5 rounds. Because that tells me this may not go 5 rounds. Just me personally. I could be wrong, but I feel like there's going to be a finish in this fight. I don't know why, I just feel that way.
I mean, the way the card is set up right now, it looks like there might be a lot of finishes in this fight. I mean, not in the fight, but in the card. Like, I mean, I know we're talking about this, but I want to get right into the
Co-main event?
co-main
Me
event.
too.
Yeah.
I was gonna say let's get into it then. You got Michael Chiesa versus Sean Brady. Sean Brady ranked number 14. Michael Chiesa is number 6. Brady's undefeated at 14-0, and Chiesa's coming off that submission loss to Vicente Luque back in UFC 264. And and it's just interesting to see considering Brady's, is an up and comer. He's not exactly in the top 10, so this is a big risk for Michael Chiesa. Some guys in the top 10 don't take these risks by fighting someone outside the top 10, but Chiesa is willing to do it, which is something you got to tip your hat to, Chiesa.
Oh, I tip my hat to Michael Chiesa completely for this one.
Chiesa,
Eh,
go ahead.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
I would say Chiesa has great, a lot of submission victories. If I'm mistaken, I wrote it down. He's got about 11 submissions of his 18 victories. So he has no knockout to TKO. He's either got submission victories or decisions. So we know how good a grappler Chiesa is, especially if he's on top. Especially if he's offensively grappling too. And then you have Sean Brady, who's got 7 finishes and 7 decisions, three TKOs, KOs, and 4 submissions. Sean Brady fought back in March, his last fight, defeating Jake Matthews by arm triangle. Is that now I think about his last? Actually, I see right here his last 2 fights are by submission. So he's been putting a lot more submissions recently in his fights. So it'd be interesting to see if Sean Brady, which if I was tries to grapple with Michael Chiesa, which if I were him, I don't think I would personally, but maybe it's something he sees that maybe I don't. If he tries to grapple with him,
Man, I don't want Michael Chiesa to get in trouble for this with this fight because Michael Chiesa might be like. Tell me if this seems out of pocket for me,
okay.
but knowing that Sean Brady is an up and comer and things of that nature, it feels like the way Michael Chiesa would come into this fight he would march straight down the middle of the octagon and initiate the grappling with Sean Brady. No feel out period, none of that. He wants to impose his will immediately.
I believe no. I think I can see it because he probably thinks I have such a you want the last 2 fights are submission victories. Michael Chiesa have a black belt. I have 11 submission victories. I'm pretty good on the mat. Yeah. If you're gonna submit me, you have to have elite grappling to do that. And plus, he said the reason why he lost to Luque was because he had a mental error. Basically, that's what he said he's been correcting since that fight. That's what hurt him in that Luque fight back in July.
Bro, I see. Like this is my thing, man. I have to accept that. I have to accept that excuse because that was a brain fart moment for all of us. That I am going to keep repeating this. Who would have called Luque via Darce against Michael Chiesa? Nobody. No one was putting that money in the book. No one took that to Vegas. And if anyone took that to Vegas before the fight happened, I want to see the ticket. Show me the ticket. But no one was calling for that. I don't even think Luque planned the Darce choke. I think it's just like he saw it there and it's like, let me kind of, I got it. Man, freestyle. I got him there. Like, it's just one of those. So I don't take it away from Michael Chiesa like that loss right there. And Vicente Luque he's a bad boy.
Yep.
And so with this, I'm gonna take Michael Chiesa for the victory for this fight. I think this fight goes into the third, maybe fourth.
3 rounds, only 3 rounds.
Oh, it's 3 rounds?
Co-main event.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
co-main event, 3 rounds. Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. Yeah. But yeah, I think this goes the full 3 rounds. Michael Chiesa may, if it's not decision, he's gonna win via submission. That's how I see it.
Yeah, I agree. It's either decision or submission. I think Chiesa's going to win because I think this is a very big step in competition for Sean Brady. Now, I understand he's undefeated. He's 14-0 for a reason, but going from fighting Michael Chiesa, who's number 6 ranked on welterweight, who was on I believe a 4-fight winning streak prior to 4-fight winning streak prior to the loss to Luque. Going against someone like him who's been in UFC since 2012, going from Jake Matthews to Michael Chiesa is kind of a big step up. Now, who knows? Maybe Sean Brady's the guy who passed the test, and we're gonna next welterweight contender to watch out for potentially. It could be that, or maybe Chiesa's able to pull through, give his first loss, and maybe Sean Brady still ends up being a contender, but this is maybe just a minor setback as well.
I mean, if it's a minor setback for Sean Brady, let that be a great minor setback because you kind of were you had the ability to jump up in ranks, but from 14 to 6, that's a lot.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's fascinating though. I'm excited. I mean, Sean Brady's got a big prospect going against Michael Chiesa, established guy, and this should be fun. I like watching Michael Chiesa fight personally. I always enjoy him. And I can't wait to see this Saturday.
Most definitely. So with that being said, I want to get right into this next fight in the bantamweight division on the main card. I'd have to let you take this away because I haven't. I don't remember these fighters. Maybe I'd have to watch them to remember them.
I know
But
one of them. The Korean fighter, Kyung Hoi Kang. I'm not too familiar with. Tell
Kyung
me how.
Ho Kyung Ho Kang, he's Mr. Perfect, and Ronnie Yaya.
Yeah, Ronnie Yaya. I see. I know the name. I've probably seen his. I've seen him fight before, but I don't remember like. I can't act like I know exactly what he does and like his style and stuff like that. Unfortunately, I know these are two bantamweights and this is in the bantamweight division. So I don't want to talk on my talk on my butt about
I
these two.
understand. So then this is one of those things where, ladies and gentlemen, we're both going to find out about these fighters. So tune in next Thursday where we'll both do a detailed breakdown of both these fighters because they're probably going to show us something. If they don't, then we'll give you a detailed breakdown on what they didn't show us either. With that being said, we can move on to the next fight on this card. It's in the women's flyweight division. Joanne Wood versus Talia Santos. I love Talia Santos, man. She's kind of been like she's been pretty good. Like I've been watching her, and what was it? I know she has a victory against Molly McCann. Who did it? Was Jillian Robertson.
Robertson.
When she beat Jillian Robertson, that made, because I was rooting for Jillian Robertson. Jillian Robertson was really impressing me with the way she was winning her fights. Really, like, she was wrestling aggressive, takedown heavy, going for the submission, but you knew what she was going for, and she kind of just didn't play around with that. But then Talia Santos she just completely took Jillian Robinson out of her comfort zone with the striking, but then took it to, clinching and ground and pound. It's just overall showed her showed her what showed her what an MMA fighter is supposed to be. And she even went on, she fought and won against Roxanne Modafferi in the Volkanovski versus Ortega UFC 266 card. So she has a fight now against Joanne Wood. I, man, I got to do my research on Joanne Wood, but I'm kind of biasly rooting for Talia Santos. Austin, what about you, man?
First of all, for Talia Santos, what a quick turnaround going from Volkanovski Ortega card, which was late September, the last weekend of September, to fighting in middle age November. Very quick turnaround. I know she won against Modafferi, but still quick turnaround for her. Interesting to see. Now Joanne Wood. I'll say Calder Wood, but she just married her coach. His last name is Wood, so you take the Calder out. It's just Joanne Wood. Anyway, but yeah, congratulations to her. But yeah, Joanne Calderwood is a girl who's always been like, we came to the strawweight division originally, and then when the flyweight division got ranked, she's always been like a top 10 girl. Like she's always like a girl in the top 10 who was like potential. All she had to do is win one more fight, or and then she'll probably put herself in title contention, especially in the flyweight division. I remember she lost to I think it was Jennifer. I think it was Jennifer Maya. Yeah, I think it was Jennifer Maya fight where if she hadn't taken that fight, she probably could have got a title fight against Valentina, but she took it and Maya beat her. But Calderwood's a very good fighter. She's a more of a striker. She has a kickboxing background. I know that. She 19-2 in kickboxing, and then here in MMA, she tends to do well striking more so than grappling. Not that she's not a good grappler, but striking's her forte. Like a lot of fighters from that region, Scotland and UK and Ireland, etc. Talia Santos she no joke. I mean, I've seen her. I do recall watching her fight, and she always looked impressive in all her fights. And she's someone that could be maybe down the road could be a challenger Valentina. Talia Santos. I know her record is 18-1. No, yeah, 18-1, and she does have 10 knockout victories. Her last three fights are decision victories, but still, Calderwood is a stand-up girl. She's a stand. They're both stand-up fighters. So it seems like maybe if a knockout would happen for Talia Santos, it might happen here. I could be wrong. Maybe Calderwood has more skills. Maybe was able to pick her apart. So it'd be interesting to see, considering Joanne Wood, my apologies, is ranked number 5. Santos is ranked number 10. Is ranked number 10 in the women's flyweight division. So whoever wins this fight can definitely just step closer to the fight for that flyweight title against Valentina, which for Valentina getting a new blood would definitely be good for her.
Oh
So
yeah,
I'm
most.
excited.
I agree with you there. This seems like man, the women that are champions right now are so dominant. I mean, with the exception, I don't want to.
Well, not Rose. Well, Rose is good. She's elite,
Rose is
but
good, and it's not to take away from Rose, but it's just like because she just got the title right now.
and plus
Versus,
there's some
I want to,
competition. I'm sorry.
yeah, and then versus Valentina and her name really just slipped.
Amanda.
Valentina. I just had the name right there in my head, Amanda. I could see her name right there in my head. I just couldn't say it. But Valentina and Amanda, who are so far defending their titles, has a couple of title defenses under their belt, so they can, they can say that they've had a run as champion for a while now.
I mean,
It seems like right now the UFC, the way they have to do this is if you're a woman right now and you're fighting on a card and you're fighting in the flyweight division or the bantamweight division or the featherweight division, just know like every fight is essentially audition tape.
yeah. Considering actually Joanne Wood. Hang on, let me check Joanne Wood's record again because you gotta give me a moment. I apologize. I had it right here.
It's 15-6.
Right, and then she's come out victory over she's come out a split decision loss to Lauren Murphy. That's right. So Murphy got the title fight against Valentina. I was just saying because you look at the rankings, Andrade, she beat Calvillo. She got dominated by Valentina in April. I mean, just obliterated. Then you have Kaylin Chikugian, who, I mean, granted, that was like a little over a year ago since that fight, but back in February 2020. But if you remember, Valentina dominated her and finished her pretty impressively. And then ranked number 3 was Lauren Murphy, who we just saw just lose to Valentina. And Jennifer Maya last year, she lost to Valentina. So all the women in the top 4 that flyweight division, she already beat. She beat them.
Exactly. This is why I said, like, for right now, if you're in the flyweight division, you haven't had a fight with Valentina Shevchenko, and you're on a card, you're putting audition tape together right now. That's it. You're putting audition tape together to show Dana White, hey, maybe I can be the girl to dethrone her. So with that being said,
I
I
got
don't
one
know
more
if you
thing I want to add.
go ahead.
I think the winner of this fight, where it be Santos or Wood, probably should fight Andrea Lee. Considering Andrea Lee last week beat Calvillo and is ranked number 7, and Lee won by Doctor Stop. Well, not Doctor. Well, I guess Doctor Stoppage technically. She stopped Calvillo. I forget. She did stop Calvillo. Yeah, referee stoppage. So maybe maybe Andrew Lee fights the winner of this fight. Whoever wins this fight, or wins that fight, can fight Valentina, and then we got a new challenger. It makes sense. It's fresh. I think that's a suggestion.
No, that definitely a suggestion. We'll see how the UFC takes apart in that, because it's also like I know they want to find the next competitor, but I think also like the UFC is when you don't have a vehicle to kind of provide the next the next number one contender other than the cards right there, you don't have a tournament, things of that nature, then it kind of gets stale. So these are the moments that we're looking for as far as like to make your name and stake your claim for that title shot. With that being said, I also want to get into this fight right now. It's the last fight the first fight on the main card. It's in the bantamweight division. Dangerous Davy Grant versus Adrian Yanez. The only thing I can't preview this without saying just this is gonna be striking like a match. Striking. This is gonna be two people on their hands. Bing, 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 bing. I'm excited for this one. There's a couple of fights right now, even not only this, but on the preliminaries as well that I'm excited for as well. But yeah, this one I'm excited for. Adrian Yanez has been very impressive as of late. Last couple of fights he's had. The last fight he had, a lot of people, even though he did win, a lot of people were kind of disappointed in the way he won because he kind of showed some sloppy defense, some things that were not Adrian Yanez like. It seemed like he was just kind of getting comfortable. And so you don't want to see a guy who's who's so impressive just get comfortable while he hasn't even had that title shot yet. So this is just going to be very, very interesting against two coming upper guys. Austin, what's your break on this?
I've seen David Grant. I've heard of. I know I've seen him before. I'm trying to remember where. I think he lost. Oh yeah, that's right. I saw him fight Chio Vera. That's right. Yanez, I know, has come up a knockout victory. I forget who he knocked out.
Adrian Yanez, he's coming off a couple knockout victories.
You're right. He's got 4 knockout victories from the Contender Series to his 3 UFC fights. TKO Randy Costa. That's right. That's right. In the prelims, he knocked out Randy Costa. Yes, he's got power. I mean, Adrian Yanez. I mean, he's got power. I mean, he can knock you. He's been knocking dudes out. You gotta be careful because if he catches you, you're going to sleep basically.
But see, it isn't like with Yanez. It isn't just the power. He's a really good boxer. That's what I can say because his accuracy is very, very good. Like an awesome boxer. Like it's the accuracy, it's the timing, his footwork, things of that nature. Like the way he does it, man. We saw it with the Randy Costa fight. Like I don't know, maybe he had a machismo moment, but he kind of wanted to trade blows with Randy Costa, and like everyone was just. I remember watching that fight. I was like, "What are you doing? You don't need to trade blows with this guy. You can easily not get touched by him, put him out, and then go to the microphone and say, yeah, you're that good,' because we all know you're that good." And so this was one of those things where Adrian Yanez, he's just been very impressive. Man, I'm excited for this.
Yeah, I can see why you're excited for this fight because Yanez also Grant, his last 2 victories before losing to Chio Vera were all knockout punches. His last 2 victories. And also, David Grant has 8 submission victories. Now, Grant, a lot of them were early in his career. His first 6 victories were all submissions. So he hasn't really done the submission game recently, but who knows? That's something to watch out for. Does he try to get to the ground where he feels like he has a clear advantage over Adrian Yanez? And it seems like these are guys who are right there near the top 15 where a big performance can put them in the rankings potentially. Am I wrong in that?
No, you're not wrong in that. But see, there's another thing. Based on the way this fight goes, if both guys are very, very impressive, this is one of those fights where like it's a Sandhagen versus Peter Yan, where essentially you have 2 guys that are fighting for the interim titles, and we know Peter Yan got the best of Corey Sandhagen. But if you watch that fight, do you honestly think that's the last time we see Peter Yan versus Corey Sandhagen?
No.
We're gonna see that. We're gonna see that fight again. Yeah. And so, like if these 2 guys show very impressive, I know Davey. If he's coming off a loss against Chito Vera. If he loses against Adrian Yanez, it's no slouch to lose against the Adrian Yanez who's coming up the way he has. But excuse me, if both of these guys show an impressive showing, it's one of those things where I know Davey, he would essentially have 2 losses, but get right back on the horse, man. Get right back on it. You're not long for the division.
Right. So Davey's got a lot of talents. Now I'm trying to remember Davey Grant a little bit more because I knew the name, but I couldn't remember like the fights. Now I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah. And also I want to shout out to Maria who wrote us early on Facebook. Hello to good friends and let's go Knicks. Hello Maria, thank you for watching us. Salute to you.
Oh, salute to you, Maria. Things are rough right now with the loss that we had last night versus the Magic. I don't know how we even let that happen, but we got some correcting to do. But while I want to clear my mind off that, let's get right to this UFC. Um, is there anything else you wanted to shout out, Austin?
No, I was going to ask you, is there anything else you want to cover before we end the show?
Last couple of things I want to cover is some preliminary fights. I know I didn't get to watch the preliminary fights for the last event, but guys, when I get the chance to watch the preliminaries, I'll even sneak it during work. You know, if I'm not serving a whole bunch of people their food, I'm gonna watch some preliminaries because especially these preliminaries, they got some fighters that I need to see. I haven't seen these fighters in a while, so. The first fight that I want to check out, Terence McKinney versus Faraz Ziem. Like, this is in the lightweight division. Terence McKinney has been very impressive, but also, man, like, not for nothing, this guy's been calling out Patty the Batty Pimblett, you know, trying to get that fight. And Terence McKinney, I had to check out his last couple of fights. I had to, you know, just rewind it to remind myself. But he's a knockout artist who's been very, very impressive ever since his debut into the UFC. So maybe this fight kind of if he wins, it goes into a Patty the Batty call out. Maybe we have a London card, maybe next year or the year after, and Patty's on there versus Terence McKinney, and both these guys want to throw the hands. It would be very interesting. Another fight that I want everyone to just look out. Please, just if anything, just watch the fight and tell me how you thought of this person. But Lupita Lupi Godinez versus Luma Lukbunmi. Lupi Godinez, I think this might be her fourth fight in this year, in the calendar year, if not her fourth fight.
This is our fourth fight in the calendar year. This is our third fight since October 9th. So third fight in over a month.
Yeah, Loopy, she gets love from me regardless. Like I got love for Loopy regardless, because for her to be hungry and picking up the phone and calling Dana, hey, I need competition. Give me competition. I need it. Like, come on, just salute to Lupi Godinez. I'm always going to support her. She's a fighter's fighter through and through. She's probably your favorite fighter's favorite fighter. So, I want to put that out there. Lupi Godinez, I support all the way through. The last fight I want to, shout out on the preliminary card is Tucker Lutz versus Pat Sabatini. Pat Sabatini is a dangerous SOB. This is for the featherweight division. I just want to say Pat Sabatini is a dangerous SOB, and that's the last thing I want to call out for this card right there.
Okay, and one interesting fact I want to mention. You mentioned Terence McKinney. 10 years ago, Michael Chiesa was McKinney's wrestling coach.
That was another post that I wanted to put out there. He said it was crazy, from a guy who is coaching me to now we're both on the same UFC card. It was something that it seemed like, just crazy how the world spins for Terence McKinney right there. So very interesting point right there.
Michael Chiesa was his high school wrestling coach. So this is when McKinney was in high school. So crazy world. Now he was his coach. Now he's playing the same cards as coach, his old coach. I mean, that's pretty cool, unique. I mean, that's pretty awesome. What are the coincidences of that happening?
Yep, most definitely.
Yeah. So, anything else you want to say before we end the show, or that's it?
Nah, that's it. Just please look out for those fighters on the preliminaries. Lupi Godinez, please look out for her. Pat Sabatini, tough SOB. He's gonna put on the show for you guys. And Terence McKinney, please, guys, just look out for those fighters. Look out for the preliminaries. They're gonna put on the show. And also, on the Yair Rodriguez versus Max Holloway fight, Max Holloway card. Just want to shout out
Alvarez.
Joel Alvarez. He knocked out Thiago Moises in the first round via elbow in the first round.
Yeah.
That was crazy. I thought Thiago Moises was going to come out there and do some work, but
Me too.
Joel Alvarez proved us wrong, and it seemed like someone that the Bronx Jedi Kev, he feels like that's someone who's gonna be a name in the UFC. So look out for Joel Alvarez.
Yeah, Joe Alvarez didn't realize how a bunch of submission victories. I think 16 of his 18 victories prior to the Moises victory were submissions. He's a fighter from Spain, so guy maybe a first. Not. I don't call too many great fighters from Spain, so maybe he can be the first. There's guys from other Latin American countries, but they're from the origin of those countries. Spain itself. So also he did miss weight though. He by 2 pounds. I'm interested to see. That's the thing. Well, 1 pound you count 156-pound limits, but yeah.
So now it kind of took away from the performance because he didn't come in the required weight for it. I understand.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what's his future. Personally, I saw he looks so much bigger than Moises. He's 6'3", fighting 155, and just like you should be a welterweight. Let's just be honest. You belong in welterweights. Joe Alvarez, watching him fight. But that's another story, maybe for another day. But you get what I mean, though.
Yeah, most definitely.
So yeah, I wanted to thank you guys for watching us or listening to us. If you listen to us on audio platforms, and if you want to listen to us on our platforms, check us out on Anchor FM, Spotify, Podbean, Reason FM, and Buzzsprout.com. And thank you guys for tuning in to us. And hopefully the fights go well. And the main card starts at 6 p.m. on Saturday. I want to point that out as well.
Most definitely. The prelims are at 3. The main cards are at 6. So just stay tuned in for that. Also, just thank you guys for supporting the merch store. Kev, let me know how much support you guys are sending over to the merch store and copping some of the stuff, Bronx Sports Jedi, things of that nature. Just, thank you guys for showing the love. Like, it all is going to go right back into the channel, help the channel grow. Like, we're kind of, we're growing right now. We're just kind of putting an importance more so on the content. But as, things start to grow and grow, and as we bloom and blossom, more things are going to surround the channel and make it a better place. So just thank you guys for supporting the merch store. And thank you guys for supporting the audio podcast platform too, because we've been seeing the numbers come back on those, and it's been really lovely. Just thank you guys so much for that.
Exactly, we appreciate it. Thank you very much, and and thank you guys. We appreciate you guys for your support and love, whether it be the show, the channel in general, will be Knicks content or football content, or baseball content or baseball season, or like I said, this show. We appreciate you. Me, Dan, and my dad definitely appreciate you, and everyone else that's on this channel. We all appreciate the love we get from you guys, and thank you very much. And I look forward to doing the show with you next week, maybe Thursday. Actually, maybe not because Thanksgiving. We might do it a little bit earlier, probably. Yeah.
We might do it a little bit earlier than but even then, even so, that'll be better for us, let's say, because instead of Thursday, we might do it a Monday or a Tuesday, and we'll have the card fresher in our minds. We have a more, I don't know. We usually take this time to calm down ourselves, because right after I'm gonna let you guys know in on the secret, cut the cameras off, things of that nature. But every weekend for the past couple of weekends, I've had to buy lozenges and drink a whole bunch of tea. Because when I see a KO, I scream about it. I call Kevin. I call Austin. I'm screaming all through the phone. And then I join my loved ones with the lost voice like, hey, what happened? So that, look, like, that's the energy I carry all throughout the week. And then I got to calm down. By the time it's Thursday, I've calmed down and I start to go, well, I wonder what could happen with these fights. But, hey, yeah, I might catch us on Tuesday, and I might be bringing that different type of energy. So stay tuned for that.
Stay tuned, and when we stay tuned with that, we'll look forward to doing that show for Chef Dan and for Austin. Good night, and we'll see you next time.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are